actively using it on the platform for quite some time, saying, honestly, just really weird shit. He would say things such as, "Do you like Japanese girls?" replying to billionaire Michael Saylor, founder of MicroStrategy, which is interesting because these two billionaires do not appear to be friends in any sense of the word. He would say things like, "What nightclub were you at? I wish I was old enough to go to nightclubs. They sound fun," in response to yet another billionaire, Brian Chesky, CEO of Airbnb. And at times, he appeared to be impersonating his own toddler son. He would reply to posts about Caroline Ellison, the CEO of Alameda Research, who turned against her former lover Sam Bankman Fried during the FTX trial, which was one of the largest fraud cases of all time, saying things like, "I heart librarians." And he would even post replies to his own tweets with really bizarre comments. I have absolutely no idea why this account existed in the first place or why he was engaged in quite literally middle school level trolling on social media, but at the time, no one knew if it was him. That is, until now. All right, endorsement time. Today, that endorsement is Surfshark, which is the longest running and consistent sponsor for this entire channel, making, at this point, I think, hundreds of videos possible with their support. Surfshark is a VPN, a virtual private network, and VPNs protect from a bunch of different things. Keep in mind, by the way, nothing in cybersecurity is ever 100% perfect, and no one should claim that it is, but Surfshark protects against certain types of phishing attacks directly for sponsoring the channel. April of 2024. This is the point where we get a 2-hour deposition in the Ben Brody case, which Musk's lawyers tried fairly desperately, I would say, as an adjective to have suppressed, directly addressing this burner account with a very odd exchange. Quote from opposing counsel: "Can we bring up tab E? All right. Is this another account that you use to see tweets on Twitter?" Answered by Musk: "I don't use that account. I think I briefly had it as a test account." Bankman continues: "Well, that's what I'm asking. In the summer of 2023, right? Which is when I'm seeing this post on here. Was this an account that you would use where you would see tweets on Twitter?" Answered by Musk: "No, I would not use this account. It was just for testing." Opposing counsel: "I mean, look, there's a tweet I see. There's more tweets on this account, right? Were you like you were posting and viewing tweets with this account?" This is where Elon's lawyer, Mr. Spiro, jumps in. "Objection. Asked and answered. I don't see the relevance to the fourth question. Move on." End quote. After a couple more words in between, Spiro continues, "He's not answering. He just answered you twice. He's not answering any more questions about this account." After which Elon obviously ignores that statement and finally answers, "I briefly used this account as a test account. There are only two accounts that I use on a regular basis. One is my main account and the other is Baby Smoke 9000." End quote. First off, I can't help but laugh here at the absurdity of all this. Elon Musk seemingly disregarding his own lawyers, answering questions about a burner account where he posts weird troll comments to other billionaires. We sit here, us normal people, with this vastly overinflated perception of what the elites are doing, when the reality is they're involved in completely absurd situations like this, while millions, even billions of dollars are somehow at stake because of it all. Don't believe me? Okay, fine. I'm just going to read here without listing off who's speaking every time. If you want, you can read the deposition yourself or pause the video right now and see who's saying what listed on screen, but just here it is, kind of unfiltered. "Lawyers do not, it is not in accordance with the lawyer's creed to just start making random statements about the alleged frivolity of a case to another lawyer in deposition. You know that's not proper. You know that. Do you give these lectures at all of your depositions? I do, and you can watch them. In any event, this is not a tweet that's alleged. If you're alleging that this tweet is directly related to the brawl, ask." "That's what I'm asking him, Mr. Spiro." "Oh, okay. Is there some code in Texas that you don't yell and raise your voice in depositions?" "Why are you yelling? Calm yourself." "Yeah, why are you yelling?" "Calm yourself. Calm yourself. I'm very, very disturbed by what you're doing. You're yelling at everyone. I'm very disturbed that you're instructing the witness. I mean, show some decorum." "I'm not instructing the witness. I'm not instructing the question. Ask your question." "Okay, now that I've got you up to speed, can I ask my question?" "Yeah, I asked you for the relevance of how this relates to the court order. You gave me an answer. I'm not preventing him from answering, so ask your question." "All right, let's keep moving. Mr. Musk, this meme, the question that I had was, this meme jokes that there are almost daily psyops, correct?" "This is a joke about psyops." "Okay, but psyops for you are not always a laughing matter, right? I mean, don't, I don't think there are actually daily psyops. This is, no, I get that. I understand. A tinfoil hat. Right, I get this is a joke. I understand that. It's a joke, obviously. What I'm asking though, if somebody puts, may I finish? Sure. Do you feel the need to yell again? I might. Yeah, I've rarely met a lawyer with less decorum than you, if you could be called a lawyer. So this is a joke, obviously. Right. This is just a kitten with a tinfoil hat. Uh huh. And in fact, it is making fun of the fact that there are people claim psyops when there often is not a psyop. Okay, but what I want to ask you about is for you, this is a joke, but there are other times in which for you, psyops are not a joke. I think the vast majority of time people think there is a psyop and there is not a psyop. The end. Honestly, I probably didn't do it justice, but just this is a $1 billion lawsuit where two of the most renowned and expensive lawyers in the entire country are arguing over a meme of a kitten in a tinfoil hat that a bored billionaire posted on a social media platform that he bought for himself as kind of a present of sorts. At a certain point, reality becomes far more absurd than anything we could creatively imagine. I'll have to do some general summary here in order to get through everything, but this deposition makes a few things abundantly clear. One, Elon Musk probably misspoke when he talked about his other burner account because Baby Smoke 9000 doesn't exist. Baby Smurf 9000, however, does, and that account has been doing things like replying to billionaire Mark Cuban, calling him an idiot during the same period of time when Elon Musk and Mark Cuban were arguing with each other. Two, Elon Musk blatantly acknowledges that he has financially harmed Twitter. Quote, going back to the sort of self-inflicted wounds, the Kevlar shoes, I may have done more to financially impair the company than to help it, but certainly I do not guide my posts by what is financially beneficial, but what I believe is interesting or important or entertaining to the public, end quote. And lastly, three, Elon Musk lacks pretty much any day-to-day knowledge about how his actions manipulate wider platform behavior. He didn't fully grasp who this lawsuit even pertained to, self-acknowledged a complete lack of context about the case itself, and to be totally honest, he probably faces so many lawsuits and legal discussions in his normal day-to-day activities, I can't really blame him for that. He talked about how a common occurrence is lawyers running up bills for their clients by pursuing him in particular. Frivolously, I think was the word. And I wouldn't doubt that for a single second. Looking at the full scope of the deposition, in my opinion, it becomes clear that Elon Musk does not have any sort of comprehensive verification process for his Twitter activity whatsoever. He merely browses the site like everyone else. However, this is where the dots all connect because while he may browse the site like everyone else on an individual level, the website and its broader community does not react to him the same way it does compared to an average user. Bear with me. See, Elon Musk has now cultivated a sort of inner circle on Twitter where a small group of rapidly growing accounts are shown far and wide, consistently pushed by the website's algorithm and frequently attracting comments and interaction from the man himself. On the surface, no big deal. That's probably a natural phenomenon. But digging deeper, we start to understand how big of an issue it actually is. Here's what I mean by that. One of the people he most frequently interacts with, there are quite a few that fall into this category, is called Wall Street Silver. This account has over 1 million followers. It is constantly farming engagement on the platform by posting content from other accounts and impulsively pushing provocative material. But it's managed by a man named James Morrison. This is where things get crazy. The owner of that account is currently, allegedly, pushing aggressive legal action against the moderator of a Reddit community for daring to talk about who he really is. I say allegedly here, but this is the Orange County Clerk records, where you can read all the details about the case for yourself if you want to. What's more, there is a wealth of information about a man named James Morrison who was charged by law enforcement for interstate vandalism and extortion. Here are some quotes from Seattle PI about the case that was brought against him. Keep in mind, this is not me saying this. I am not the person making such allegations. I am simply reading publicly available news stories and drawing from publicly available lawsuits. Quote, King County prosecutors claim Issaquah resident James Henry Morrison launched a terror campaign against his ex-coworkers at Avalara. Further down, for an 8-month period, Morrison created an environment of fear. No one knew where or when he'd attack. End quote. Another portion reads, Morrison worked only briefly for Avalara, though his short tenure didn't stop him from demanding a large severance payout. Seattle Police Department Detective Christopher Young said in a statement to the court, when he was denied this money, he launched a terror campaign against the company, which involved covertly vandalizing the homes and cars of random employees in order to compel the company to pay him to stop. End quote. And lastly, quote again, according to charging papers, Morrison traveled to North Carolina and vandalized homes of Avalara workers there. Morrison was arrested June 29 at an Issaquah bank. He was alleged to have been setting up an account in expectation of a large payment. End quote. This appears to be the type of person that Elon Musk is directly promoting and interacting with frequently. There are many more examples from his inner circle of most frequently amplified Twitter accounts, but since this individual appears to be now engaged in targeted legal action to suppress his critics, it's an important example to give. Why? Well, let me explain. See, there is a never ending parade of people attempting to enter Elon Musk's orbit. There is a consistent and omnipresent bombardment of people who want his time and attention, while he would probably much rather be devoting his energy to literal space travel or family or whatever makes him happy. That kind of attention might sound theoretically appealing to some, but reality is completely different because we often fail to consider one crucial fact. See, normal, well balanced, stable, and successful individuals are not consistently pursuing social media validation and close proximity to a billionaire purely for the financial incentive it might offer them. Normal, thoughtful, everyday people with solid emotional stability and decent morals are not attempting to farm as much engagement as they possibly can on Twitter, regardless of plagiarism, authenticity, or impact. Which means that Elon Musk, during whatever time he chooses to spend on Twitter to begin with, is faced with a very distinct situation. All around him, there is a constant horde of the worst, greediest, most incessantly self centered people you can possibly imagine, clamoring for his time, his attention, and trying desperately to get him to notice them by posting whatever they think will be most appealing to him. That's not an easy concept to understand, by the way, because you or me or pretty much anyone really has no comprehension of what that would actually be like. Having the social fabric of the entire platform change just so that you will talk to them constantly. And because of this, he is faced with a rat's nest maze like experience every time he logs in. For a while, I thought it would be practically impossible for him to be unaware of just how infested the platform had become, but now I realize, thanks to this deposition in particular, that a far more likely situation is that he genuinely just doesn't allocate very much mental energy to this topic because Twitter isn't that important to him. And why would it be? It's a bunch of screaming people on the internet when he's much more concerned with launching actual rockets into space. However, with that lack of prioritization, things get complicated because the most aggressive, widely visible, and vocal demographic are those with a financial incentive who will do anything for profit, filling Musk's periphery with deceptive posts and plagiarized material as often as they possibly can, regardless of what is true, valuable, or even fundamentally moral. Their sole motivator is to post something that could be viewed, passingly by this particular owner, as interesting, important, or entertaining. And the subsequent fallout of that is a platform where the deciding factor behind should I post this or not has nothing to do with truth or value and is only calculated by whether or not it can earn the author a little bit of money and maybe get Elon Musk to notice them for a second. Consider that for a second. Like, really consider it. The bizarre world of a billionaire is one in which the entire social fabric of whatever space they are in gets twisted and warped by their very presence in a negative way. Is it their fault? Maybe. I personally don't really think so. But regardless of whether or not they can be held liable for it financially, in the courts, for example, it still happens. And it's a state of existence that we regular people just cannot comprehend. Thanks to a 2-hour deposition that a legal team tried to suppress but failed, we now know that Elon Musk personally believes he has done more to harm Twitter than to help it. He browses the platform with various burner accounts to troll his fellow billionaires. He is surrounded by an army of deceptive and greedy influencers who will do or say anything to make money, and it's entirely possible that he has no idea about most of this. That part I'm not sure about. Some of the characters in his inner circle are just fucking terrible people with extremely obvious behavior. But the bizarre world of a billionaire is one where the normal fabric of society literally changes because of them, even if their actual behavior isn't all that different from the rest of us. There's a lot of people out there who go on social media and post things without thinking, right? That's kind of the norm. Or without fact checking. Again, super normal. Just so that they can be entertaining. This is very common. There's a lot of people who make themselves fake burner accounts and reply to their enemies with troll posts, or reply to themselves for whatever reason. But those people aren't dictating the outcome for billions of dollars, tens of thousands of jobs, or literal pieces of governmental regulation. No. Those outcomes are the result of billionaires behaving pretty much the same way as everyone else, just living in their own bizarre, ultra high stakes world. That's it. If this video is a hit, maybe I'll try and do one about Zuckerberg. If you want to support the channel, check out the links down below. This is the final day to get Upper Echelon Spring Collection merchandise, right? It's going away for good. It's available right now, link down below.
Welcome to another episode of Instead of Letting a Company Pay Me, I'm doing a review instead.
That's it. That's my intro.
Hi, I'm Amanda. You're watching Soul Entertainment, and today we are talking about Fume, a company that did in fact try to sponsor me. And my management was like, "Do you want to do a Fume deal?" And I was like, "Not really." For no particular, well, no, I shouldn't say no particular reason. There was a couple of reasons as to why I said no. Predominantly, I'm not really their target demographic, and so therefore I didn't really think it was a good idea for me to sponsor them. I'm not someone that vapes, I'm not someone that smokes. I am a social, if even that, weed smoker. It's too early in the video for me to say it normally. I don't allow myself to smoke anything alone. And that's because I have an addictive personality and a history of addiction in my family, so there's a lot of things that I just don't let myself even do at all, let alone alone. Now, some of you can be like, well, Amanda, weed isn't addictive to you. Maybe not. I know quite a few people who I can say I disagree with that statement, but at the very least for myself, it's a choice I've made for myself, okay? So other than that though, I'm not someone who has a problem with smoking at all, and so I didn't think it was a good idea for me to promote a company that is designed to, target the things that could potentially be leading to you having difficulties quitting smoking. That was just that. I just didn't think I was their target demographic, and so it was going to be hard for me to pitch the company in that way. And then a bunch of my mutuals started promoting it, and I've been seeing the ads everywhere. And so, like always, once something gets talked about a lot, I start having questions. Again, nothing particularly bad. I was just like, this budget's fun. And so I'm currently, if you can't tell, in a hotel room in Austin, Texas for South by Southwest. And guess who has a booth here? Fume. So guess what I got for posting to my Instagram stories? For free. So not only do you guys get a review, you get one that was free. For the low cost of a few seconds on my Instagram story. Because I'm going to be honest, I immediately deleted it. Basically what it is it's an inhalant, but it's not an inhalant. Okay, it's flavored air, which that in and of itself, I was like, what are you smoking? Because what do you mean it's flavored air? Because my brain immediately goes to vapes when I hear flavored air, which we can go back and forth, okay? But if you're inhaling nicotine, you're gonna have an addiction issue, okay? Also, everyone's gonna think I hate vapors and smokers and all this by the end of this video. I just know it. You guys are very weird when someone just says they don't do something. I get weird comments. It's like, sounds like you're judging me. No, it sounds like you're projecting. I don't do a thing. I really don't give a shit if you do that. So yeah, they had these around. They had orange vanilla, and what was the other flavor they had? Flavor sounds weird, but it is what they called it. But their whole thing is Goodbye Bad Habit. This is from their actual website. Natural flavored air device, which sounds crazy. So this is the prominent style, and then there's Solano, Solano is the black metal piece with the like dark wood. Looks nicer, frankly. I'm gonna be honest, it looks sus. I was trying to test this out all day today because I got it yesterday. I was playing around with it yesterday. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm not someone who's used to like pulling out my vape and like taking a hit or doing a dab while I'm talking to people. So it was very weird to like pull this out. It feels weird to pull out randomly, okay? Also, as you can see as I'm talking to you, Willie, make sure there's no cuts in this section. There's no smoke, so the smokeless part is real. There is no smoke because you're not really inhaling something, you're inhaling air through the core. We'll talk. Maple pepper was the other sample they had, I believe. So this is the orange vanilla core. And there's 3 cores in a pack. Okay. They gave me this, and then this was in the box. The world's first diffusive device. In 2018, from a humble basement in Calgary, Canada, we set out to help humanity create better habits. We believe the best way to do that is to make switching to positive habits simple, easy, and dare we say, enjoyable. We've innovated the world's first diffusive device, a product that functions with diffusion instead of vaporization, is not addictive, and uses natural plants instead of harmful chemicals for flavor. We've since helped thousands of people switch naturally, and we're privileged to see you have a part of your journey as well. Braden Pauls, co-founder and CEO. Now, the one thing that I also have an issue with something like Fume, doing so much marketing brand-wise, is that it's not a bad thing to market over. I shouldn't say that. I just have questions when that's all I see is marketing and people that are being paid to talk about it. I don't know anyone, considering in my life, I'm in Southern California. I know a lot of weed smokers. I know a lot of regular smokers, a lot of vape users. Okay, I'm in Los Angeles. Everyone vapes to some degree. So to see that and to know a lot of people who have desires to quit, but have never themselves used a fume device, or I've never heard of anyone being like, oh my gosh, yeah, my buddy totally quit because of a fume device. I have questions. And that's just it. It's questions, curiosities. Now, again, I don't want it to sound like that whole Gen Z to boomer pipeline where it's like, if I haven't heard about it, it doesn't exist, okay? Or if I don't know who they are, they're irrelevant. Because that's happening a lot. But I would just feel like in a place where I would consider it was a hub, essentially, of smoking and vaping and all of that, I figured I would have at least heard of at least someone or seen any form of an actual review or people who use it who are not getting paid to talk about it. And I just haven't seen that. There's a diagram inside of everything, which I do like. Easy snap in core. I wouldn't say the core snaps in. It slides in, then you kind of have to push it down to slide it in. Made with real wood, which is nice, I would say. Twist barrel to adjust flow. So at the back here, if it shows up, let me hide my face, hold on. So that is your airflow. So you can open and close that based on how much airflow you want. The guy at the booth said, oh yeah, for some people who want that actual feel of like smoking on a cigarette, where it's like they have to suck through the actual filter, that's typically what that's there for. Barrel slides close, slides to open and close, like that. A magnet holds the barrel shut. That's the magnet. Perfectly balanced for hand comfort. I mean, sure. I don't know how much that would affect things. It's still gonna feel like a weight. It's definitely, depends on which type of vape you have, but it's definitely heavier than like, say, a cigarette. 30-day little habit tracker in there. That's kind of a nice little touch. So this is a little cute pipe cleaner, a little pipe cleaner, and a little cloth to clean things out. And it suggests wipe the outside of the mouthpiece and inside the core slot. Use the pipe cleaner to clean out the mouthpiece. That's good. And I'm sure someone's gonna be like, why do you have to clean it? Because you're inhaling air and it's like condensation from your mouth, condensation from outside, I'm assuming. It's the same way to wash your water bottles. They get gross over a certain amount of time. They also described that the whole thing itself is actually designed also as kind of a fidget, which for me, as someone who deals with you guys, my comment section, you guys hate when I fidget in videos, to the point that I'm literally working on a fidget toy layout of sorts that is silent, so you guys are not mean to me in comments anymore when you hear me fidgeting with things. So I'm gonna be honest, more than I've been sucking on this thing, I've been playing with the magnet. Play with the twist a little bit. But I also feel like if I was doing this during videos, you guys would literally reach through the screen and come and beat my ass. He was explaining it to me as like, oh, it's designed to also help with like the people who do just have used to having something in their hand. The weight is so that you kind of memorize it a little bit more. Kind of, you know, make up for the feel of not having any things in your hands. The fidget is just to like give you something to do so you're not reaching for, you know, holding a vape or a cigarette or anything like that. As far as the taste goes, okay, it's definitely mild, and I've been doing this for about a day or so now, so I'm running out of time on this core. The cores don't last particularly long. I'm assuming that's because of the natural fibers that they are actually using in the fume device itself. So let me pull out and show you I dropped it. So this is the core. I assume it's charcoal. It's just a tiny little core. Obviously, definitely a more pungent scent to it. It's got a little hollow bit to it, okay? And then you just wedge it in, pop it down. Oops. Yeah, I found I had to kind of push it down a little bit to get it to fit inside the chamber itself. Orange vanilla was inspired by the nostalgic flavor of a creamsicle. The smooth flavor of vanilla combined with zesty, fresh orange gives us the simple, sweet, and citrusy core that it's sure to delight. And I would say that this is probably like the most subtle one. I definitely don't want to try maple pepper just because that doesn't sound appealing, frankly. The maple does, the pepper does not. For an inhalant, I know it's not actually an inhalant. I'm just saying, like I want to blow something out. I will say that. I'm not even someone who smokes much. And it's like that's the natural movement of things. There is really no smoke. There's nothing. You can see as I'm here, no cuts. There's nothing. Nothing at all. Which is not a bad thing. I'm just noticing that it's weird. Okay, it's a note. I would say the flavor is less on my tongue and more in like my chest. That sounds weird, but like that's where I feel it more. So it's definitely I'm feeling it in my lungs because I'm inhaling something, obviously. And they said that it goes through about 1 a day to about 18 hours based on how long the scent feels. But obviously, if you're someone who wants something stronger, probably when you're starting to like work towards quitting, if you're really just looking for some form of flavor in your throat and chest, okay, you're probably gonna go through them much faster because you want that stronger taste as you're trying to break the habit of vaping. Or probably, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know. Well, I guess the pepper one might be better for smoking. I'd really be interested to see in like actual focal groups, like who this works better for. Okay, like because logically in my brain, I would assume that vaping would probably be better than smoking. But then I also feel like the smoking might be better. I don't know. I would be interested to see what actual data you guys have, or what research you guys have done with like actual focus groups of like who this has worked with. The Journey pack, which is one of these, and then 6 packs, would be about $89.50. Okay, so it's a chunk of money, but this is reusable. You just buy the refill packs, and then, you know, it comes down to how often you end up, you know, needing refills. The Fume Solano is $98. Why? This one, if you just buy this, is $67.75. Why is this more? A premium walnut barrel and smooth coating on the Onyx mouth. It's just the materials used. So it's walnut and onyx coated mouthpiece. More money. I love the poses on their website of people with this. Like, oh yeah, this is so cool. This is elite. I like it more as a fidget than an inhaler, I'm gonna be honest. But I know I'm not your target demographic, which is why I didn't take your money. Really, you should be thanking me for a review instead of doing a brand deal. So this is for their Learn Science and Safety. Products claiming to be a safe alternative haven't always been accurate. Anyone looking to use a new product or technology should first look at the research and safety behind it. Our goal is to create a concise list, all in a place, of all the documentation and research done on the inhalation and digestion of the natural plant compounds, essential oils used in Fume's cores. A couple of things to note when doing your research. It's important to look for research done by a third party. Scientific journals and studies published by reputable organizations are ideal. Know what to look for. While research may show a product is safe, it is still important, especially if you're experiencing bad side effects, to consult your physician. And I think that's a good thing to have on their website. This is from December of 2022, but obviously they've been a company for a while now. We see this also with, like, say, doTERRA and other companies that deal with essential oils, or MLMs, or some more woo-woo sorts of essential oil companies and all of that. Just because it's good for some people does not mean that you will not have adverse side effects. Essential oils affect everyone differently. Different essential oils in different dilutions can affect everyone differently. If you do try a fume and you find that you are having a poor reaction, immediately stop, consult a doctor, okay? Because at the end of the day, you may not be inhaling smoke, but you're inhaling some form of vapor, even if it's like just very minimal contact of the essential oil. It could potentially affect your health poorly. Now, that's not a fault of Fume. It's not a fault of anyone. It's just a matter of your body could react poorly to something. If you ever try this, or you try anything and you have a poor reaction, please go to a doctor. Don't go to Google. The doctor, okay? Because your lungs got to take care of those. So let's see. Research and studies. Fume essential oils view here. The purpose of the study was to confirm that the exposure of essential oils consumed through a fume device was within the safety standard for essential oil consumption by Health Canada and other regulatory bodies. The effects of aromatherapy on nicotine craving on a U.S. campus, a small comparison study. This is from 2013, March 28. Abstract. I know I'm not inhaling anything. I know it's just the scent. I think just because it's just the flavor, that's a really weird feeling where it almost feels like my stomach is empty. You know, I'm really curious on what the effects would be if someone says has disordered eating, okay, and then also has like nicotine or vape addiction of some sort, and they try to use this to cut back on that. Would that affect their dietary habits? Because it almost feels like I'm hungry, but I just had dinner, you know? Like, because it's like I'm getting that flavor, but then there's nothing in my stomach. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing's hitting my stomach, so I'm not getting that amount. Would this make me hungrier? I would assume yes. This definitely would not cut my cravings. I would say that. Both black pepper and Angelica reduce the level of nicotine craving and allowing a longer delay before next use of tobacco. However, black pepper reduced the level of craving more than did Angelica, and Angelica allowed for a longer delay than did black pepper. So the result of this one particular thing is saying that black pepper essentially cut down the craving for nicotine, but Angelica made the delay longer. So it's like, yeah, you still have the craving, but like they were able to wait longer before they smoked again. So that's an argument, I guess, for the maple and pepper one. See, my one question is with aromatherapy, because like something being, you know, consented for or like tested for aromatherapy is different than something being tested for inhaling, you know, or like consumption. Because like it's one thing to smell something, it's another thing to like physically breathe it in. I think that's really going to be it to wrap this up. As far as like potential, again, I am not the person to give a full review of like, oh yes, this is going to help you quit smoking, because I'm not that person, okay? That's just not what I am. I can tell you about the product, I can tell you about my experience with it, but I cannot tell you if this is going to help you stop smoking. The flavor's nice. Crisp mint sounds like it would be really good. Wait, white crab berry? No, cranberry. I'm so dyslexic. I'm sorry. I definitely want to try and recommend this to some of my friends that I know are vapors and smokers and see what they would be interested in. Most of them have no desire to quit, like it all. So I don't know how open they would be to it in that regard. I like the fidget function more than I like the inhalement function. Like even when you see me like taking a hit, it's because I'm actively making the decision to do that because I'm doing a video review on it. It's not so much like I'm thinking like, oh, I'm doing other things. You know, because I'm used to that feeling because I'm just not, you know? So it's like the fidget though, I do that a lot. I know different people like different fidgets for different things. I feel like this would be more annoying for most of the people that are used to it if they have to work in, say, an office setting or things like that. But again, I don't know. How often are you guys vaping in office settings? I shouldn't say that. I'm around a lot of Gen Z tech people. A lot of them don't care. The flavor is still pretty strong. Again, I haven't been sucking on it all day. It's just been like here and there when I remember to. So it definitely could this will probably last me longer than it would say someone who's actively trying to quit, like I said. I don't think there's anything wrong with it per se, unless every single YouTuber that I've seen talk about this has secretly had just a very severe vape situation in secret. Like, I don't know how you're all cool with promoting a flavored air thing. Don't worry, the air up flavored water thing, that's next. Why must everything be flavored? Why can't we like get rid of the trash on the planet? Let's do that. The price is a lot, but I mean, this is the reasonable part. As far as the refill goes, like original core bundles to get a pack of 3, essentially getting 9 cores, it's $21.75. That's a decent deal for the refill. So like you just buy one of these, you just buy the refill packs, and then, you know, hopefully it cuts down your need for nicotine. Hopefully. Some people have very severe nicotine addictions and things like that. So again, I don't know what level of your nicotine dependency would this be best for. That would be something I'd be interested to see. Like, is this someone who's like, oh, I'm only a casual nicotine user and I'm trying to stop? Or is this targeting specifically people who have very severe smoking, vape, nicotine addiction, what have you, and want to try to break up with that? Have you ever tried Fume? Have you seen Fume? Have you seen YouTubers talk about Fume? Are you annoyed that I didn't just take the money? Let me know. Comment down below. Reminder, I now stream on Twitch. Reminder that Swell Entertainment is now available on Spotify. Reminder to get 10% off of your order on GamerSupps with code SWELL. Shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for supporting my Patreon. If you'd also like to support my Patreon, that will list down below. Like to find us on social media, that'll be all up here. And that's for me to have a lovely day. Goodbye. I should have said that's gonna be a have a lovely day instead of goodbye. That would have been funnier. Thank you, Oz, Eva, Ayana, Abby, Angel, Goth, Glenn, Palace, Pink, Jasmine.
Oh, hey, I'm just about to go to bed. I know we couldn't Skype tonight, but that's alright. Good night, girl. I'll see you tomorrow.
2Mad was one of the most talented YouTubers of his generation. In a few short years, he went from a literal nobody to having millions of subscribers. He was featured by PewDiePie, collaborated with Max Mofo, Anything for Views, Jay Schlatt, and other extremely popular legacy creators. His audience was loyal, following him to any platform or medium, and his style of comedy influenced millions of people during a time when they were all locked inside and wearing masks. On February 14th, 2024, he was found dead of what was presumed to be an overdose. When Overwatch was released in 2016, it quickly became one of the most popular games in the world, with every content creator hopping on the bandwagon to try and capitalize. One such aspiring creator was a young man named Medea Sadiq, a 16-year-old boy living in Winnipeg, Canada. Now, Winnipeg is cold as f*** sometimes, so he had a lot of time to stay inside, and at the time, he was also lacking any real-life connection whatsoever. According to 2Mad himself, he was basically mute throughout his time in school, and barely had a single friend. He was constantly getting into fights with people, and just had a very hard time growing up. The friends he did have were called Sony Vegas and Premiere Pro, so he got cooking. Inspired by old MLG montage parodies and YouTube poops, he began making what can only be called schizophrenic edits of Overwatch gameplay. He had opened his channel in April of 2016, and the growth from there was pretty steady, racking up around 10,000 subscribers a year later. In just 2 months, he grew to 160,000 subscribers, thanks to a few of his edits really popping off. How to Doomfist, Nerf Lucio, and Rip Roadhog got millions of views within a few weeks of posting. On Twitter, he thanked his new viewers for the massive growth. But he wasn't about to slow down. His time had come, and he needed to seriously keep momentum going if he was going to maintain this strong new viewer base. He didn't spend his money, he didn't party, he sank into his computer chair a little deeper and cranked out video after video, week after week. By January of 2018, he had 450,000 subscribers. Just 1 year later, he doubled it. By this time, his videos had also gotten much longer. Instead of posting 1-minute long edits, he was posting 10-minute gaming videos with his editing and commentary mixed in.
I look at the water and I build the castle. I go to the fridge and I take me the goat. I go to my Xbox and I turn it back on. I get my reflections, then I shoot at
This editing, with constant bruh noises, random sound effects, and memes thrown in, became extremely influential, with a lot of other editors taking note. There truly was never a dull moment in these videos. They were great for keeping viewers engaged. In an age where every Zoomer's attention span is less than 12.4 milliseconds, keeping people locked in was really important, and TwoMad, intentionally or unintentionally, was a master at it.
Oh, get wrecked. Okay, let's go. One more left. Let me show you how good Blitz really is, bro. Flash!
The last thing you want in your video was you are fake news, sir. You're gonna admit it.
By June of 2017, he already had 100,000 subscribers from his Overwatch edits. At the same time, he had been streaming on Twitch, where he cycled through Overwatch, Rainbow Six Siege, Fortnite, and really whatever game was really pulling in new viewers at the time. His personality was slowly but surely getting out there, and it helped that his manner of speaking was basically in line with his editing, constantly quoting different memes, movies, games, songs, never staying in one place or on one topic for more than 15 seconds. He was definitely unique, and viewers loved it. In February of 2019, he did a face reveal on Twitch, which on YouTube got 1.5 million views.
Literally every black person in fucking existence is gonna be mentioned. They're gonna say Obama, they're gonna say X, they're gonna say T'Challa, they're gonna say who else is black? Nelson Mandela? Who else? Thanos? He's half black, he's mixed, so
now his face and his personality were out there on full display, giving him a golden opportunity to move from being just an editor to a media sensation. And that all really started with Goodnight Girl.
Good night, girl. I'll see you tomorrow.
The Goodnight Girl meme came at the perfect time. Just a few months out from his face reveal, his audience was already familiarized with his appearance. This video, which portrays him as a lonely simp or Discord mod, telling his e-kitten it's alright she deprived him of attention, went absolutely viral. Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, 4chan, you name it, it was posted there to millions upon millions of views. And the clip itself is not like standalone, it's from a compilation of similarly cringe and hilarious bruh moments. What's interesting is that this was not accidental. It was a calculated move by TwoMad that he created in one take.
I put the camera angle, the webcam mic is so shit, so I was like, alright, this audio is gonna be perfect. And then it took one take, it was just one take, one single take, where I just go up and I start saying some shit, all on the spot. I don't know what the fuck I was saying. I was like, go to Skype, nah. And I just did that, and I literally just let my legs slip under me, and I just fell straight on the ground. There's nothing there.
The memes he would use, like the Baba Booey sound effect.
You think that like North Korea is gonna pick it up and send an ICBM to my Canadian house?
Saying bruh constantly.
Bruh.
And his poor impression of various ethnicities similarly spread across the internet and became synonymous with his brand. Around this time, the original TwoMad channel was renamed to TwoMad360, and his old second channel became his new main. He also expanded his content from just gaming videos to literally everything. Live streams of him trying to sleep while his viewers sent text-to-speech donations to bully him. You Laugh, You Lose videos, where he would challenge his viewers to make him chuckle, with the prize being thousands of dollars. IRL videos of him acting like a psychopath while riding an electric scooter. Then his neighbor stole that electric bike, so he tried to get the police to kick the door down, which they would not do. So he left them a troll face with a note asking for them to give it back.
This dude literally lives right beside me and I can't do shit about it but leave him a goddamn letter. What the fuck, man? 1984. I'm gonna leave him a stack of money too. I'll give him everything he wants. Beep, boop, 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 boop. Let's not put our face in the camera. Your photo is required. I just showed Obama at work. What company are you delivering for? Building management. Bob gives me his name too. Thank you for that information. There we go. Let's open that up. Let's leave him the letter. Give him that lock so you know he can give it back. There you go, buddy. And we'll give him a little bit of money too. Give him about like $5 in the ting, yeet. And lock him up. Goodbye.
Any random event from his life would become content. He went out of his way to enrage sensitive fan bases like K-pop stans.
Now, dude, now you see this has 6.2 likes, right? There were like 2 other tweets with like 20K likes trying to get my removed.
He was really killing it in the content department. At this time, he was also taking prescription Adderall to focus. He describes his thought process naturally as extremely random and all over the place. This drug allowed him to lock in creatively and actually get things done.
I'm on fucking ADHD meds.
Are you? What are you on right now?
Dexedrine. 10 milligram daily dose.
I have never even heard of Dexedrine. That sounds intense.
Generic Adderall.
Is it fun though?
It's not necessarily fun. It more like it's like essential to function.
It makes. Oh, do you like need like Adderall to function on a day to day? Adderall is. It
Tell you what, I don't need it, but it's probably a lot better if I use it. Otherwise, I'll just be like, bruh, moment all day, just like, hello, I'm thinking of literally the world.
He was also smoking a considerable amount of weed at this time.
Kush is all I need.
and that good Kush and alcohol.
I wake and bake and I'm just like, I don't need shit.
But this cocktail, for the time being, didn't seem to affect him negatively. It allowed him to push past whatever his mental problems were to make content on a consistent basis. While his popularity was rising, 2Mad was also on the move. Due to some complications with living with his family, he planned to move to Los Angeles, California, and one content creator who offered for him to move in was none other than Jameski.
Welcome back to another episode of N-Word News. Did 2Mad really say the N-word? Well, according to Jameski, he did, but the thing is, 2Mad's black.
Jameski is a content creator who similarly came from a gaming background. You probably know him from his Uganda Knuckles VR chat videos that blew up a few years ago. These guys seemingly have a similar sense of humor and style of content. So where was their disagreement? In October of 2019, 2Mad began tweeting out claiming Jameski was actually Russian and not Danish as he claimed to be. This kind of became a meme at the time with a lot of people spamming Russian text at him. James did not take this lightly and decided to post a big twit longer outlining his side of the story. James says he offered 2Mad a place to stay, but their relationship had been deteriorating in the lead up to this move. He said that he hadn't spoken to Medea for a few months because he knowingly and purposely was harassing him over his PTSD speech problems. He said 2Mad would go as far as to mock him for sounding alike to terrorists. Apparently, this really hurt his feelings coming from a friend. He also said that he would often use the N-word to farm emotes in chat, even though James asked him not to do it because it made a lot of people uncomfortable. He dropped the hard R multiple times in text chat and voice during streams, which is one of the reasons why they stopped streaming together. Now, to criticize 2Mad for using this word is dumb because 1, based, and 2, he's black, so in the eyes of the world, he should be able to say it.
Yo, the N-Pass! Yo, this Craigslist to hand! Oh my god, you want to buy this? Buy this now, it'll never be here again.
Can you shout out my son, Nick?
But it appears James's problem was less to do with the word itself and more to do with the potential of a Twitch ban when it's uttered. James also said 2Mad would constantly make fun of him during his Rainbow Six Siege tournament, which made him very uncomfortable. He felt it went beyond basic banter and it genuinely hurt him. Despite this, he agreed to let Medea move into his home in LA. But as the move-in date got closer, he apparently was warned by people about 2Mad. All of my friends said they didn't have a pleasant experience with 2Mad or knew somebody who would have a word or two about it. Without dropping names, all of the friends I spoke to collectively said they wouldn't let 2Mad in their house. But I imagine it's biased based on their experience with him. 2Mad is known for being vengeful, harassing people behind their backs, and leaking private conversations with malicious intents. After this, he decided to call 2Mad to make sure he actually wanted to move to Los Angeles for the right reasons. We called him to ask him this question because we wanted to make sure he's not going to regret his sudden decision to move to a foreign country without a proper plan. First of all, his getting kicked out within a few months suddenly changed to I just want to move out and that he wants to move to LA because it's where you make it big. Huge twist of the situation if you ask me. We tried to explain to him that Los Angeles is extremely expensive and that he's going to live here at a loss and it might not meet his expectations. As I mentioned earlier, he just insisted that we wait until he gets partnered, yada yada. He also made a Patreon a few minutes after our call, which is probably the right decision. So the plans to move in were still on. 2Mad was to attend TwitchCon 2019, at which time he would also swing by the house to check it out. But during the actual event, they didn't get to hang out as much as James would have liked because of a complication situation with 2Mad missing his initial flight. His reason for not getting on a plane was because there was a guy who had a turban. I hope it's a joke, but knowing his racist attitude, I doubt it is. So TwitchCon that year was in San Diego, which is a 2.5-hour drive from Los Angeles where the house is. James had to return early because his friend Scott got food poisoning. So while busy with that, 2Mad messaged him saying he was coming by the house to see it and will be staying with them. According to James, this was somewhat uninvited. 2Mad suddenly messaged me, "See you at your house in LA on October 2nd, to which I responded that me and Scott might be at the hospital and can't hang out as our flu was getting worse. He didn't care about how we feel or what we're going through. He said that he's still coming and that he's going to stay at my house for 5 days. I called him out on his dumb assumption and he began to guilt trip me for spending hundreds of dollars and that he can't even show up. Just a clarification that I never said he can't come, I was only confused about his intentions. After making it clear that I'm not claiming he can't come, just might not be able to stay by himself at the house if I'm at a hospital, and I asked him to clarify the part where I told him he could stay at my place, he showed screenshots where I mentioned that the corner room is reserved for him since he specifically wanted it and that there's no furniture including no mattress. I explained to him that it's just a miscommunication and it's not like I wouldn't let you in the house, but you should be more clear next time, alright? He started guilt tripping me even more. At the time I didn't realize he was just being manipulative and I offered to pay full price for a hotel stay in case I'm at a hospital and he can't stay at my place. A week in Los Angeles at a hotel is $1,000 to $2,000 if you book it at the last moment, by the way. He continued guilt tripping me. After a few hours, I told him that if he promises to take full responsibility for the house, I can let him stay in my room, even if I'm at the hospital. He told me he promised and reminded me it would be cool if I pay for his hotel. So 2Mad flies to San Diego, but says he has a place to stay, so he doesn't have to stay with James or stay somewhere James would pay for. James was hurt. 2Mad had been ghosting his messages in LA and not hanging out with him. In San Diego, he tried to get Medea to go to the zoo with him, and 2Mad apparently continued the same behavior despite being there to visit the house, which caused James sleep deprivation as he was really stressed out and confused. Later, James had planned a trip across the world to Australia and wanted to hang out there with Medea. Apparently, James messaged him asking if the two would be hanging out, at which point he just said sex immediately before giving him a fake address of where he was staying to mess with him. The same kind of stuff continued while there. 2Mad said to James he was staying with a friend from Canada, when in reality he was staying with Anything for Views. James, upset, messaged him saying the following: "You really think it's fair to lie to me for 2 weeks for absolutely no reason? What happened?" 2Mad then sent a cringe.mp4 file he deleted immediately, and then just sent a really shitty image of Captain America saying, "No, I don't think I will." Yeah, I mean, that sounds like something 2Mad would do. Eventually, James messaged Anything for Views about the situation. I spoke to Chad about this briefly. At no point did I say anything like, "Don't talk to 2Mad, yada yada." I just shared my experience and how I feel about it. When Chad was saying that everything seems fine, I told him that's all that matters and I'm just sharing my experience. I don't know what Chad told 2Mad, but a few minutes later, 2Mad wrote a 1,000-word rant about what a bad person I am. He twisted the situation multiple times and tried to guilt trip me really hard, but it didn't work this time because I could see everything right through. The cherry on top was quit the pettiness. This is literally the definition of high school drama, just leave me alone, man. I didn't bring this to the public because I didn't want drama. I didn't want our viewers to be involved, and I thought he was just a scum person who will move on after this. The only people who knew about the situation at the time were people who were around both of us and just saw it slowly develop. At no point did I call anyone up to get them against 2Mad. The only conversations were just me sharing my experience and asking for advice because at the time I didn't realize I was being manipulated. Pretty ironic because 2Mad allegedly went ahead and started trying to get people against me behind my back almost immediately. Despite the "just leave me alone, man" part he said to me, he was tweeting at me all morning, targeting not just my tweets but also replies to my fans. He blocked me on Twitter so I couldn't even see his replies. Worth mentioning, he has been deleting some of the Discord messages and then edited his manipulative rant. Good thing Discord shows the time of his edits. He also deleted me everywhere right after I got no contact with him. After reading all of this, I bet a lot of you are asking, who cares? I mean, 2Mad was known for roasting and talking people in game, so that's expected. The situation with dodging James and ghosting him is definitely mean, but nothing that needed to be made public. Overall, kind of a nothing burger. James did not acknowledge the fake Russian claims at all in this, which definitely threw some people through a loop. This tweet longer is 3,200 words. It's almost the full length of a YouTube video. So why does it even exist? You could say it's because James felt attacked by the Russian thing, but then why not address it instead of whatever else this is all about? So 2Mad responds with a video on his YouTube channel. He opens by reiterating his claim that James pretended to be Danish when in fact he is Russian. To prove this, he shows old footage of Jameski under a different username speaking fluent Russian to Russian YouTuber Nofkers.
Want actual footage of him speaking fluent Russian? Here you go. Nofkers has a lot of it because they used to be friends until dun dun. The meme happened. I'm Danish. Every trace of conversation in Russian with Nofkers fucking purged. Why, you might ask? knows I'm not trying to get assassinated.
He also claims that James got his Twitter taken down for making fun of him.
Considering that it's a really good theory that you got my Twitter terminated. You literally deplatformed me for calling you out for being Russian. Why did I call you out for being Russian? Because you called my current roommate Anything for Views, asked him if he was alone, and then proceeded to tell him that I took advantage of you. I'm a clout chaser. I must warn you of Too Mad. All I do is make videos with my titties out. Leave me the fuck alone. I tried to resolve it privately, but you didn't respond. So yeah, I've never seen someone get banned for something this tame. Without outer input from Jameski, how would a Twitter employee know that I'm trying to spread hate or violence when I'm not even doing that?
As for the talking, Madea frames what he said to James as casual talking that was taken too seriously, causing him to freak out during both tournaments they did and behind the scenes. Despite his perspective that James was a somewhat sensitive person, he needed a place to stay, so he was open to moving in with him. As for why he made his tweets about James, well, he took James calling Chad to talk about him as a manipulative move to turn his friends against him. As for not wanting to hang out with James, I'd say he pretty much owned that one.
I just didn't want to hang out. I'd give you excuses over and over. You just wouldn't pick up on the cue. You wanted to force it. You were so insecure that I didn't like you, that if I didn't meet up with you in real life, you would just start spreading shit. And that's exactly what the you did. You crossed the line and you started spreading garbage, vile shit to people who are important to me in order to manipulate them.
Now, during James's tweet longer, he had an issue with not believing Too Mad's intentions for wanting to leave. Too Mad shows a message he had sent James trying to resolve things, where he said he was consistent that the reason he needed to leave Winnipeg was because he was in a toxic household where his dad was attacking him regularly, which is why the cops were called there. Too Mad claimed in this long message he got red flags when James took his banter too seriously, and also that when he had joked about the Russian thing among friends, James freaked out, which once again gave him cold feet and made him believe he was hiding something, which is why he didn't want to hang out with him. His real problem with James started when he messaged Chad and other friends to talk about him. Too Mad says that James's lack of evidence for the events that went down is very telling of the truth.
He says here I lied to him and a mutual friend about getting kicked out of my house, and we'll never know who because you guessed it. He was claiming he's only got a few months and he needs help to move to Los Angeles. This is a complete manufactured narrative. I had zero interest to move to Los Angeles. I wanted to go anywhere in the fucking continent. Like I said before, Jameski was just the first person to offer, and he ended up being in LA, and that's why I wanted to go to LA. Not the other way around like Jameski says it. This is how he tries to convince you that I'm a cloud chaser.
He admits to saying the N-word, but said it's because it's just a part of his vocabulary, and James could just kick him off the stream if he thinks he's being out of line or going to cause a ban. He also says he did make fun of James, but nothing resembling harassment. Him making fun of James was more him making fun of the Russian accent instead of his PTSD speech problems.
No, Jameski, I did not make fun of your speech problems. At worst, your accent! Once again, he's making it look like I had some sort of issue against his health problems, which I had no idea about, and frankly can't tell exist. I'm sure I was being a prick solely for entertainment, to be toxic, for the stream, which I explained to you while I was apologizing profusely in the call we had the day after. You're bringing it up just to make me look bad. You're actually trying to convince people that I actually meant what I said.
He goes on to disagree with the majority of James's retelling and ends the video with this.
End of the day, what did we learn? Jameski's Russian. Jameski will lie about his entire identity, so why believe about everything else? If you're gonna believe Jameski, get receipts. Don't blindly believe people. If you're under the age of 14 and you blindly believe twit-longers, you get a pass. But if you're over 14, I prescribe you with children brain.
James responded with another twit longer. Just make a video, bro. You're really gonna make me read this? Well, it is my job, so big bullet points. During the drama, Too Mad said that after his video, James would come out and threaten to off himself. James sees this as an immature comment. He claims he did not mass flag or report at Too Mad. It was actually Maximilian Muss. The real reason James was mad about the tournament in the recording Too Mad shows is because he had invited someone James does not like, which made him uncomfortable. He rebuttals Too Mad, saying he was never kicked out of his house, with a DM of him saying he was. But I guess you could take this to mean he was being forced to move due to circumstances and not literally kicked out if you want to be charitable to Madea. He shows messages of Too Mad dodging him when asking to hang out, and the rest is mostly just stuff that is up to interpretation between the two. And he finally responds to the Russian thing. He proceeds to manipulate his audience into a mindset that I always have something to hide, that I flip out whenever someone brings this up and more. The way the video is edited is also very manipulative. He claims that he's a victim and that he dodged a bullet bullet. He claims everyone is afraid to speak out and he's the only one brave enough to talk about it. He drags Roman into this. Me and Roman are friends, although we haven't spoken much lately. For the record, I used to study in Russia for a part of my life. It was the worst part of my life experience I ever had. I was also mostly homeschooled. It was around that time when my house was set on fire twice due to arson. Too Mad knows my house was set on fire. Too Mad knows I was hospitalized after. Too Mad knows I had a horrible depression and that my family was broke and that I was extremely distressed. It's worth mentioning that he didn't mention in his video about me living in other countries, and he didn't talk about me talking French, broken Suomi, etc. back in the day. Also, it's worth mentioning that I mostly spoke to fuckers in English when he was recording in Russian. Speaking anything but English is outside of my comfort zone, and I will address that later down below. I know some people have made up lies about me, and I didn't want to address it publicly. However, my close friends knew from the beginning my name is James, and it always was. I did study in Russia for a few years, like I mentioned before. It was a horrible experience. No offense towards Russians, it's the life situation more than anything. Too Mad never brought up that I also lived in Poland, Denmark, most significant, and many other countries. My family moved a lot. Longtime viewers also know I have a bit of a French background and I spoke French in some of my videos. The arson is one of the primary reasons why I had to leave my education to work to support my family. I made it clear many times during my live streams I can understand multiple languages, but English is the only language I'm comfortable fluently speaking. I never tried to hide it. I don't understand why people stick to that so much. I think this entire beef was extremely dumb. A lot of miscommunication clearly happened. Too Mad probably never lied about why he wanted to go to LA, but James clearly read some things as more definitive and serious than they actually were. James probably did not pretend to be Russian, and this was just a misinterpretation, and Too Mad took his sensitivity around the subject as proof he was lying. James probably called Chad because he was weirded out by Too Mad's behavior, which Too Mad had every right to take personally as some weird way of cutting off his new YouTube connections. To say one person is extremely in the right while the other is not is dumb. Frankly, the reason why Too Mad won this beef is because he's just way funnier than James. But by the end of it, there was no resolution. James hated Too Mad, and Too Mad hated James. And from here, they go their separate ways to continue on with their respective careers as niche internet micro-celebrities. Shortly after this, during his trip to Australia, one of the first episodes of Cold Ones was released, starring the Sleepyhead himself. This is one of the most coherent appearances of Madea ever released. He talks about his experiences during school and even reveals he never finished high school.
But I think all parents are like, because they're boomers, man, they don't understand. They're like, you make money on the internet, like that makes us. I had the exact same problem with my parents.
Yeah, your dad, right?
Yeah.
There's like a balance where they're simultaneously trying to look out for you and support.
Absolutely,
like,
that's
your
how
passion.
my mom was looking at it. But
yeah,
I was
because
like,
then it's like, you're a fucking dumb kid. You're not gonna make anything out of this. I want you to, get an education, then maybe blah blah blah.
they didn't fucking get it. But like I said, I didn't even have subs and I knew I'd blow up. I just do it.
It's
like,
definitely a risk, but it's a risk worth taking.
I wasn't doing
For certain
shit in
people.
school. All I did was get fucking in fights constantly and just fucking do nothing. Everyone wants to be a YouTuber. That's like the top one job.
It's in surveys, it's the most requested job. I'm like, just finish school. Like, it's not going anywhere.
Nah, fuck that. Not always you need to finish school. Like, if you're like me,
School, I guarantee you,
High school.
school is not getting in the way of you making a YouTube video.
depends.
Just go to school and f around then if you're not
High
interested.
school, high school probably finished that. I didn't finish it.
They did a video where they made prank calls, they did a vlog in Los Angeles, and Too Mad continued doing his regular content as well. Now, there are a lot of examples I could give. The guy was at the peak of his creativity and comedic prowess, but my personal favorite thing he did is also probably the most obnoxious out of it all: the Zoom videos. When the pandemic was happening, many students had to take classes online from their home or dorm room to prevent the spread of COVID-20. So Too Mad would get his fans to send him links to their classrooms and then mess with the teacher by just being himself.
Sorry, class is over. Hi. Sorry. I'm sorry. You're gonna have a stroke. You're too old for this. Leave! 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 Fratana, leave, bro! I'm telling you, man! Fucking run! Run!
This video got 16 million views, more than double the hits of his second place video on the Too Mad channel. He was absolutely killing it during this time, collaborating with Swagger Souls, Call Me Carson, Super Mega. Really anyone who was remotely related to gaming or comedy stuff did something with Too Mad. KSI couldn't stop laughing at his videos. Goodnight Girl was featured in PewDiePie's YouTube Rewind, which got 28 million views. He did a photo shoot with Belle Delphine. As far as influence goes, from 2019 to 2021, he was at the top of his game, and it seemed like no one could stop him. Not K-pop stans, not the principal of a school who he called while pretending to be his viewer's dad so he could justify why he brought Too Mad's N-word past to school.
Are people allowed to say the N-word in the school?
Actually, if you look at our code of conduct, it is very specific in there about somebody making racial slurs.
Oh, okay, so it's not allowed, but...
Yes.
But what
you
if
can
he...
check our and if you want to look, that's on. I'll have her give you a call.
Wait, just 1 second. If the N-word isn't allowed, what if he has the pass? Does that allow it? Like the N-word pass? If he has the pass, he can say it, right?
What pass are you referring to, sir?
The pass, like to say the N-word?
I don't know what I'm kind of confused. You're saying that he would have a card that would allow him to make a racial slur at school? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly.
And this was a post-edgy YouTube. It wasn't 2016 with Filthy Frank and all of those guys. It was 2020 and 2021, and he just kept the spirit of the golden age alive. He even managed to get healthier and lose some weight. He was mewing, he was looks maxing even. Nice to see. It seemed like nothing could stand in his way, and he would continue on this upward trajectory. Surely someday he would be remembered in the YouTube Hall of Fame as a unique and innovative creator. Until one fateful day when he just stopped posting. The last video on the 2Mad channel was posted in August of 2022. Meanwhile, videos being released on the 2Mad 360 channel slowed to a crawl, and those that were posted became increasingly low effort. He just wasn't active like he used to be, at least on YouTube. On Twitter, meanwhile, he was posting incessantly, sometimes hundreds of times a day, just posting mostly incoherent bullshit. Not that his tweets weren't already that way, but it got really bad during this period. I'm giving many thanks to my insatiable horniness, Turkey, and Jesus Lord. Michael Jackson just walked into Subway, they were out of cookies and milk, and he got hangry about it and screamed, but it just sounded high-pitched and funny. Britney Spears just walked into my Subway and won't stop talking in the "It's Britney bitch" voice. She insists it's her normal speaking voice, but I don't buy it. Now, this was nothing too out of the ordinary for him because his sense of humor was basically just random references repeated anyway. I mean, you know, I'm kind of stupid, so I find it funny. But it did become even more incoherent during this time. He had also stopped uploading, which definitely raised some genuine concern. Meanwhile, his Twitter account turned from just incoherent babble to trying to piss off as many people as possible. It all started with this tweet where 2Mad tweets out his drawing of Blaze the Cat from the Sonic franchise and is like, "Hey guys, I made this art, I drew this." The caption is "work in progress," and then he tags his own account. And right here on the screen, there's also a mustache covering the original signature, showing that he basically ripped this art from someone's account and then took credit for it. Stealing art isn't funny. You're not fooling anyone. Credit the original artist's post, please. And the fact he's 22 as well, bro fell off from nothing so hard because he's washed, and doing these shenanigans is the most interaction he's had in weeks. For whatever reason, he was too lazy to actually make content and was instead passing the time by baiting people on Twitter into being angry at him. And it never became a video like the K-pop thing had in the past. It was all bait with no gain whatsoever apart from his personal dopamine and enjoyment. This happened in March of 2023, and he copied these events further as a means of baiting angry interactions on Twitter. Nothing substantial happened for a few months until the allegations were made public. During one of his attention-baiting episodes, 2Mad mocked the death of a British trans girl named Brianna Gay by saying that she was his girlfriend. She was murdered, with the teenage pair who did it sentenced to life in prison for an exceptionally brutal killing, partly motivated by her transgender identity. I mean, there's just no benefit to saying stuff like that. Like, I was trying to tell him, I was like, dude, I know you're not a pedophile, but like, there's just no reason to like tweet the picture of the trans 16-year-old who's dead, like repeatedly, be like, she's so sexy. Like, there's no benefit to that. I even think it's funny. Like, I can acknowledge like there's a funny aspect to joking about something that's that f***ed up. Like, I almost get it, but it's like, just why? Like, why do that to yourself? You know the response you're gonna get if you're in that position, and right. He just seems to genuinely just not care. A lot of trans people on Twitter were upset about this, and with the hate swirling, a user named Goldie Bell took it as an opportunity to talk about her experience with 2Mad. On June 24th at 1:41 a.m., she posted saying the following: 2Mad is psychotic. What he said about the trans girl is genuinely how he is IRL. He's way worse in real life. Most psychopathic person I've ever met. If you're reading this, Medea, this isn't an excuse to try talking about me again. I'm completely serious about involving the police. Spam from 2Mad after I blocked him for SAing me. He made 6 burner numbers after this to also spam me on, as well as Instagram accounts and a Twitter account. If you want proof, I have all of it. Just ask. You can see him send texts actively at the end of this clip. Yeah, I met him October 2022. I hung out with him in person a few times. There's seriously so much insanely terrible stuff he did to me, it would take ages to explain, but the highlights is that he was taking a lot of drugs, pressured me into sex, verbally belittling me constantly, jokes about things like if I myself that it would be hot, that he would kill me and stuff, locked me outside his house in the middle of the night for fun. Then when he asked me to come over to apologize, he sexually assaulted me by groping me the whole time while I kept pushing his hands off, telling him no. Pressured me into sex again after I asked, does it matter if I don't want to? He said no, then grabbed me as I was trying to run out of his house's front door and started groping me while I was crying and had to use my full power to get him off. His friends showed up as I was running to my car and helped me get out after 2Mad started running to my car as I was about to go. Then that night he saw XQC and his girlfriend and told them both everything because he thought it was so funny. I didn't really say much, but yeah, the groping thing was nothing nothing compared to what happened earlier. Basically, I was extremely uncomfortable and telling him to stop touching me. He kept grabbing my thighs and messing with my skirt, started like touching my feet and shit, and I'm literally stuck in a corner basically, and the MF stands up, takes out his dick, and kept telling me to grab it and look at it and stuff. And keep in mind, I'm super uncomfortable. I told him to put it away, and he kept getting closer to me, doing same shit until I tried leaving the room. He grabbed me then, and like, he grabbed me from behind. He was still hard, and I could feel it against my back as I was trying to get away, and he was still like grabbing my stuff. Sorry for wall of text. Oops. He did that twice. At the time, 2Mad responded by saying, okay, and call the cops, do it. They'll be like, who asked? Goldie Bell then posted a screenshot of 2Mad supposedly mocking Bianca Devins, who is a 17-year-old girl who was brutally murdered by a guy she knew online. She also said she had more screenshots of him being a bad person compiled in a folder, but refused to reveal it for the time being. She then posted a video of him apologizing for misgivings, including making sexual advances she was uncomfortable with and pushing past her boundaries.
I am literally driving, but I'm literally in Oregon, fucking Washington, Oregon. Dab. Okay, so apology. All right, so I can't take the damage away that I've done, but I'll try my best. Okay. I at least want to take responsibility for what I did. Like the way I treated you and like.
At the very least, he seemed to admit some kind of wrongdoing, but what it was unclear, as was the severity. She then posted literally thousands of messages of him spamming her, acting like a nut job basically. Some people questioned if this was just typical 2Mad behavior, while others speculated he had to be using some substance to justify spamming someone this much. While he wasn't on YouTube, he was still infrequently streaming on Twitch. The same night Goldie Bell posted all of this, he went live and made fun of her, saying she was desperate for attention, and that the allegations were cookie cutter and dumb. Getting a real response out of him was nigh impossible.
Nobody fucking believes you. Okay, actually, the first thing that I did was, I'm not that bad. I didn't fucking... Bro, I was on the couch with the fucking cat, scrolling! Welcome. Mindlessly. And then I saw the fucking kid. Oh my god, it was an honest mistake. I was just fucking posting. I was just talking, okay? Like, fucking, I don't tell you.
In this stream, he also said she was his girlfriend at some point, and this was a relationship struggle. He also, in a few different contexts, claimed he had paid Goldie Bell for oral sex, which she supposedly accepted. Meanwhile, Goldie Bell said she was never in a relationship with him. There also seemed to be some conversation about him giving her money here. He says he wants to shower her in cash. They discuss some money that he's to give her to make her feel better for something he did. And then when they're talking about him giving her money, he says she should get the sperm out of him.
Most fucking ridiculous shit. Whatever. I don't like cancel culture anyways. So many fucking dudes that you guys trust on a day-to-day basis have done that same shit, if not worse. It's common!
Him downplaying the allegations by saying this kind of thing, whatever the truth was, and saying it happens all the time, definitely didn't help him in the eyes of the public. Now, at the same time, this clip looks especially bad when taken out of context. He does, however, outright deny any sexual misconduct ever took place.
Some of it's false. Like, she's over dramatizing it. Like, I didn't say this all, it just didn't happen. That never happened. That's her main headline, right? That's the main headline? Never happened.
He also said she was mentally ill, which informed her supposed false allegations, as she was abused in her youth.
The truth is that she was molested as a child, right? Okay, it happens all the time, and that makes it so like this, what happened to her is a lot worse in her fucking head.
Finally, he reflects that had he not started shit with the trans community on Twitter, this may have never come out and he would have been left alone.
You made this shit 10 times worse for yourself? Okay, yeah, if I wasn't doing that trans, I don't know if you would have posted that shit on Twitter. If I wasn't like wilding out originally. Finally. This is like a train, like I'm just having a train ran on me.
In response to the apology video, he claimed it was a coerced confession. Meanwhile, others leaked messages of him spamming people for no response. When questioned about his harassment, he told people to end their lives, spammed even more, complaining about how his personality doesn't make up for his physical appearance, and more schizo babble. It was clear by this point that he had some delusions of grandeur, believing himself to be a few notches above the average man. He was also constantly posting memes about Light Yagami from Death Note. I mentioned earlier how he was consistently using stimulants and also marijuana. While both of these can have negative effects, their toll on your body in the short term tends to be much less extreme than with hard stuff, which by this point in time he was very into. Introducing ketamine. A big aspect of ketamine is in fact delusions. Ketamine is a dissociative anesthetic that has some hallucinogenic effects, and the more you take, the more these effects take hold. This is a drug he has referenced tens of times, and so at the time, many assumed he was frequently under the influence of the powerful psychoactive drug, which was definitely impacting how he responded to everything. But with most situations like this, they never actually escape the Twitterverse. This time, it did, when Goldie Bell filed a civil suit against him. On July 6, 2023, Goldie Bell, real name Isabella, filed a request for a protection order against Too Mad or Medea Sadiq. She claimed she was being harassed by him through threats, both public and private. She also said they've been witnessed by James Prime, the real-life name of Jameski. She claimed it began in December of 2021 and lasted until the present. When asked if he had threatened her with a weapon, she said, "Respondent pulled his gun on me while I was standing on his front porch, which was caught on video and posted to Too Mad's Twitter account. He owns numerous firearms. In connection with his threats, she posted a video to Twitter showing him firing his pistol in the air while sitting on his patio." She also claimed to have been sexually assaulted on multiple occasions, including coerced oral sex and intercourse. "I live in constant fear of my life. I am Isabella, and I am the petitioner in this action. I bring this petition because I fear for my life and safety. I am a 19-year-old art student. Beginning in November 2021, respondent Medea Sadiq sexually assaulted me on multiple occasions, and over the last several weeks has made private and public threats to my life, repeatedly harassing me online and by phone. Respondent also pulled a gun on me, which is captured on video, Exhibit C. I believe that respondent is severely mentally ill and unstable. I fear that he's going to harm me. I met respondent online in October 2021, shortly after I turned 18 years old. Respondent is a famous YouTube video creator with millions of subscribers and hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitter and other social media platforms. On or around November 21st, 2021, respondent invited me over to his house to spend time together. When I arrived at his door, he immediately asked me for my ID to verify that I was 18 years old. He then asked me to give him my phone, which I did. He then deleted our prior text message conversations on my phone and told me to leave. I immediately felt very uncomfortable and left after just 10 minutes. In December 2021, respondent manipulated me into coming back to his house to visit. He assured me that he would not make any sexual advances towards me and that he simply wanted to apologize to me for how he had previously acted. He gave me marijuana, and I quickly became intoxicated. He then returned to making advances. As we were watching a YouTube video together, he pulled out his penis and demanded that I give him oral sex. I was in shock and refused him over and over again. At that point, he placed himself between me and the door and began to get enraged. I knew he had multiple guns in the house and he was not going to let me leave. Because I was scared of what he would do to me if I continued to refuse his advances, I performed oral on him against my will. I was too intoxicated to drive home that night. His manipulation continued over the next several weeks, and he exerted sexual control over me, eventually forcing me to have sex with him against my will. I repeatedly told him that I was not consenting to sexual relations with him, and in an attempt to lure me back into his house again, he sent me a photograph of a contract he drafted, wherein he promised not to demand sexual acts from me, and he acknowledges his wild, uncontrollable psychological problems. A true and correct copy of the photograph is attached. By January of 2022, I had enough. I told the respondent that I would never allow him to touch me again. As I turned to run out of his house, he ran after me, tried to tackle me and grope my breasts. He seemed to find this funny. I was in tears and begging him to let me leave. When I finally got out of the front door, two of the respondent's friends happened to pull into the driveway. They saw my highly emotional state and asked me if I was okay. I told them I was not okay, and his friends acknowledged that the respondent was known to act this way towards women. At the time, I did not go to the police for fear of him retaliating against me. Shortly thereafter, respondent sent me a video of him apologizing for assaulting me. The video will be provided to the court at the evidentiary hearing. Over the last several months, respondent has continuously harassed and stalked, making several threats to my safety. His threats and harassment have become more and more alarming over the past 2 weeks. In the past, he's shown up to my apartment unannounced, and as recently as 4 days ago, under information and belief, he sent a package to my parents' address in Orange County. While I blocked his phone number, he set up 8 burner phone numbers so that he could continue to spam me, contact me, and threaten me. The text and spam messages number in the thousands. In one unsolicited direct message, he threatened, "School shooters are like tortured souls that fester in dark rooms with their misery. Is there a chance? Yeah. Like I might get a phone call from Jesus Christ to exhume your soul for the sacrifice, and unfortunately in this situation, I must do." Further, respondent repeatedly harasses and threatens me online, including on Twitter, which has provoked his large following of fans to join in the harassment. Just a few days ago, the respondent referred to me in a threatening tweet, watching Death Note to mentally prepare the most effective way to make this bitch jump out of her skin in her apartment. In another tweet while talking about me, the respondent posted a meme depicting 3 assault rifles with the caption, "Who's getting the assault rifle?" He further tweeted that he will burn my life to the ground and that he is plotting on the bitch. In another tweet, he bragged about sexually assaulting me. What do you mean? I got a bunch of head and sex from her. I won. Lol. He continued, well, actually, it's around 30 when our students become successful. They kind of die inside in the meantime. I'ma get away with this shit. After being confronted online for essaying me, he tweeted to his hundreds of thousands of followers, you know what? I would do it again. In another tweet, he posted a video of two birds mating with the caption, so this is what I did to Bella, basically. Respondent continues to post photos of me in connection with threats to my safety. Examples of respondents' online and telephone harassment are attached here too as Exhibit B. Further, respondent is in possession of multiple firearms and his online harassment makes reference to his firearms. In between his threatening tweets, respondent posted a video of him firing his gun off on his patio at his home. Respondent is known for flaunting his significant arsenal of weapons online, and he appears to have a fascination with firearms. On one occasion, the respondent pulled a gun on me while I was standing at his front door. The act was photographed on his doorbell camera, and he posted the photo to his Twitter account. True and correct copies of respondent's gun-related activity are attached as Exhibit C. Fearing for my life, on or around June 26, 2023, I went to the Culver City Police Station and filed a police report, case number 233383. Officer Bo Railsbach suggested that I immediately hire counsel and seek a civil harassment restraining order. I am terrified that respondent is going to kill me and or continue to attempt to exert sexual control over me. Respondent appears to be severely mentally ill and unpredictable. The constant threats and harassment are ongoing, and respondent has caused me substantial psychological and physical harm. His conduct has led to my extreme anxiety, depression, and habits of self-harm. Alright, so with her main statement out of the way, let's get to the evidence. Exhibit A features a written apology that Tumad had signed saying he would agree to not demand sex from her. It was apparently a sleeper agent code word which would make him be forced to admit how he was scaring Isabella and apologize for his actions. Past this point, most of the evidence regards Twitter posts and messages Medea made and sent to Goldie Bell. Exhibit B shows that Discord message of him saying school shooters are like tortured souls, but he has a life worth living. The next one shows him saying, is there a chance? Yeah, low key. I can lie and say no though. Like I might get a phone call from Jesus Christ to exhume your soul for the sacrifice. And unfortunately in that situation, I must do it. Now some of the posts entered into evidence are just straight up goofy to be included here. This one shows him making some meme about Death Note. The next image is a Halo meme assigning the assault rifles featured throughout the series to their respective Alvin and the Chipmunks character. Page 16 meanwhile shows Leafy is here asking Tumad why his Riz is so bad, with him responding saying he got a bunch of head and sex from her, so he won. In the same screenshot we see him saying the reason he made the apology was to get her to unblock him, and it was not sincere. They feature him spam posting about driving in Oregon, which was his favorite bit during this time. You guys don't get it. He's not giving a good response, not because he's crazy, but because he was driving. You're not supposed to text and drive, especially not in Oregon. Page 22 features a tweet of him saying, you want me to suffer for it? Hell nah, and you know what? I would do it again. The next page is a meme he made about Oregon and the allegations. Finally, at the end, we get some text messages of Tumad and her. She asks him not to send her sexual things anymore, and he just dismisses her. Then there's a bunch of nonsense about self-improvement, and I miss the rage. Now for Exhibit C. The first piece of evidence here is an 11-second video Tumad posted himself, which appears to feature Goldie Bell coming to his door and him holding a gun. She claims this is one of the moments when he threatened her with a firearm. Here is that video. Now in the video itself, Tumad claims that this Glock is just an airsoft gun, but he does have a real one. The next video is a re-uploaded edit from Tumad depicting him walking on his patio with a different airsoft gun, shooting it into the air with artificial muzzle flashes and sound effects.
Look, whoever's the CEO of WebP, look at this shit. What the f? This is not a PNG. This is some bullshit. What the fuck?
They then show Google image search results for Tumad gun, and there are various images here. The one on the top right is obviously photoshopped. The one on the top left is a video where he uses an airsoft gun to kill a spider.
It's on your leg. No!
The one on the bottom right was confirmed by YouTuber Yumi to be an airsoft gun and appears to possibly be the same one he shot on his patio. Finally, the photo of him with the Thompson also appears to be airsoft, but it's really difficult to be certain here. I'm not a gun expert.
It's just uncomfy. Yeah, it's kind of unwieldy.
And that's the end of the evidence for the initial suit. Now, the purpose of this suit, to be clear, is to secure a protection order for her so that the court orders Tumad to stop contacting her altogether, which honestly is a valid motivation considering the fact that he was constantly going schizo on her and wouldn't stop contacting her. He incessantly posted about the situation after it all came out with vague memes and directly addressed her. In August of 2023, he called into the TBH podcast to respond to the allegations.
I deny everything. Okay, I did some of that shit. Alright, so not everything.
Which things?
No, I didn't do Okay, I don't deny everything. I deny some things and I accept some things, okay? Thank you. I'm just describing what I'm asking you. I'm in Oreo right now.
Too Mad, are you still there?
He left.
Then he called into Augie RFC's live show while I was there to just spam a bunch of memes and really not say much of anything.
I have more marketable skills than you too. I'm a better editor. Literally, if I didn't have a YouTube channel at all, I could work as a manager, work as an editor.
No, you couldn't.
And be
Like a Denny's?
Dude, do you even know how to use Sun Vegas? Do you know how to use Sun Vegas? Dude, if there's anybody who's more likely to work at Denny's, it's fucking you, bro. Please stop coping. You're coping. You're coping.
Now, around this time, a lot of people had been making videos about what was going on. Myself, Oompaville, really any commentary channel was making a video about the Too Mad allegations. So he decided to start posting a series of responses which are completely unwatchable garbage.
Welcome back to another epic video! You know who Too Mad is? Yeah, he's a legend.
Yes! That's me!
But if we're to summarize what he said here, he basically says, 1, yes, I am a scumbag. 2, yes, I did try to and successfully paid her for sex, and I did also, 3, spam her with messages. However, he does not believe this constitutes stalking and claims he didn't sexually assault her. He admits to being a manipulative weirdo, but not someone who has assaulted a girl. While I was reviewing these allegations on my own live stream with Gokanaru, Too Mad decided to call into the show to have a chat about everything. He joins the call, to which I immediately ask him why he has posted this suicide-inducing, unwatchable response, to which he claims it is watchable because other people have low production quality and still succeed. I, of course, rebuttal saying that this is an important video where he's responding to allegations and he just sort of acts dense and doesn't get it. It's unwatchable, dude. I turned it off.
It's not unwatchable. You turned it off.
I shot myself in the throat after watching it.
I have to watch furries have
C920 mic. There's that one streamer with the C920 mic that there's millions of views of J Schlatt C920 videos. Like this is like it's irreverent.
Yeah, but this is supposed to be like a serious response.
Yeah, but why the thing is okay. So there's a balance to be struck with. So you were talking about this dude fell off, right? Okay, so he gets canceled, still fell off, right? Okay, so part of that is like okay, well you haven't posted anything interesting in a while.
Yeah.
And the other part of it is you just straight up aren't like you don't care, like unironically uncancelable.
Gokanaru then makes the case to him that not caring what the internet thinks at all is dumb, especially with an ongoing lawsuit which could result in financial damages to him. He doesn't seem to agree.
Being beholden to the internet. You know, like if you give a about what people think, you're beholden to them.
Yeah, but like, do you realize how that can like result in you going like off the rails and smashing into a brick wall?
All right, what's the worst thing that I did? What's the most off the rails thing I did?
I mean, you're being sued right now. Yeah.
Oh, the being sued thing, I didn't do that to myself. I did that to myself a year and a half ago, but that was a year and a half ago.
What do you mean did it to yourself as in like, you did what she said?
Like
or
everything
you're just saying like, what happened?
Yeah, what I'm being sued for, I did it a year and a half ago.
Okay. But now your response to it is to like make this like insane video where you just like blow out the mic and say a bunch of bullshit, babble, and like scream like...
Well, okay, well, so the alternative is to say nothing.
Yeah, it's a lawsuit, an ongoing lawsuit. Do you have to comment right now?
But if you say nothing, it's like, then it's like I'm beholden to people.
Couldn't you just make a statement and be like, yeah, I mean, I'm just dealing with it right now, like, you know, I'm gonna deal with it legally in the proper channel. Like, I feel like there's literally no benefit to that video. The first time that whole audience has heard of you is just like schizo unwatchable video. It's like his mission at this moment seemed to be to completely just go off the rails publicly and piss off as many people as possible. He didn't care about pleasing anyone. In fact, he wanted to rid his audience of the Emily BLM types, as he puts it, and just leave the based ones, so to speak. But given the serious situation he was in, being in a lawsuit, it didn't make sense to us why he would be posting things like, I did it and I would do it again, and to make all of these terrible response videos. No matter what we said, he didn't seem to get it.
Yeah, my prediction is like, so basically it's literally what I said in the video, which is just like she's traumatized by somebody else, so she's like having an overreaction to what happened to her. So like the actual like intelligent opinion on like what actually happened is like pretty innocuous, non-excessive. But it's like it's still not good, just in the sense of like because she's traumatized, it's like I should have been more delicate about it. But what I did is like she's definitely